Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tail Pawcast. I'm Lilly.
I'm Lemmy.
And tonight, we're joined by Foxa. Foxa, could you give us
Hello.
a quick opening onto who you are and what you do?
Hello. So my name is Foxa. Online I go by Foxy Fox Girl or professionally Foxy Game. I am Foxy Game. Wow. Singular. Foxy Games. I'm an indie game developer, game designer, 3D artist, graphic designer, and a lot of other things, and just generally a storyteller in the realm of digital media.
Interesting. I think you are the
So,
first not like traditional content creator we've had on.
Hmm.
so what was the thing that pushed you to start making game? I mostly know you because you made a few games, but what was the push that made you want to start doing that?
So this originally started, I don't even know what year it was, but there was a game series called The World's Hardest Game. And this was when I was very, very little. It was an old Flash game.
Yeah, I
And the third
remember
game was in
that.
development. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we all
was
remember
so
that.
much fun. And I was very excited for the third game. And I ended up finding a video from the developer. I think they go by Fair Maiden Games now. They used to go by Snubby. And they were kind of just showing like how they made the fourth level of the game. I can't do four fingers with my hand, but they were kind of showing how they made that level. And younger me was just completely entranced by the idea of being able to make your own games. And ever since that day, of course, as time has gone on, I've more specified what exactly I've wanted to focus on, but that was what initially introduced me into the world of game development and really like pushed me into starting to create that stuff.
Interesting. I dabbled way back in the day with like game engine, but not something I ever like moved forward with. It's not something that's super interested. So it's interesting to hear someone who does game development and the reason why you started.
Yeah, I mean, game development is very, very complicated. There's a lot that goes into it, and especially if you want to make something more complex, even like simple additions can go ahead and be extremely complex. And creating a game is tough. Creating a good game is very, very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in game dev, mostly as a pixel artist because that's like most of what I do nowadays is pixel art. But I've took part in a few game jams 'cause that's more of what I vibe with. But yeah, it is like not that easy to be fair.
Now I've heard you work mostly in Unreal. How is Unreal compared to an engine like you in your own engine?
So, yes, I do go ahead and use Unreal. I'll say this, Unreal is not at all made for everybody. Unreal is, from what I can tell, for a lot of people, a very difficult engine to use. Now, I started using Engine or Unreal Engine in mid 2018, but before that, I dabbled with Click Team. I dabbled with Unity, but they never really worked well for me. I started off with Unreal. I'll say this: if you want really good graphics and a lot of like pre-made developer tools, Unreal can really go ahead and easily like get you in there. But it does have some issues. It has a lot of bloat with Unreal 5. And really, when it comes to game engines, it's going to depend on personal preference. I found it easy to get into it. Other people have found it tremendously difficult to get into. You just have to go ahead and kind of dabble with different engines and see what works for you.
That's fair enough. I only ask because the only like game engine experience I have personally is Unity because VR chat and VTubing. So it's always kind of interesting to hear someone who doesn't really deal with Unity, they deal with the other major engine and what their takes are on it are.
Yeah, I have friends who use all kinds of different engines: Godot, Unity, Click Team Fusion. There's a lot of engines that I've seen different people go ahead and use.
I thought about trying to pick up Godot. Me and a couple friends were gonna try to work on a game project. The only reason I thought about picking up Godot is because it's extremely versatile and you can basically program it in anything. And I personally know Python scripting. That's like the only coding I know. And from what I was told, the inbuilt Godot code is very similar to Python, but it never went anywhere. We never did anything with it.
That's unfortunate. It always sucks kind of seeing people like really want to do something and then it just unfortunately kind of fizzles out. It's very common, unfortunately, but you know,
I mean,
just how
it's
the cookie crumbles.
it was a matter of time management. I was doing
Ah, yeah.
content. I was doing content creation full time and everything. I was streaming 5-6 days a week. It was really hard to fit like even a couple hours into my schedule to sit down, try to script code, brainstorm ideas. One of my friends was unemployed, but they were trying to get jobs, do stuff. The other one was working nights, so we didn't really have an area where all three of us could be together and try to like sit down and like, this is what we want to do. How do we do this?
Yeah, one of the big problems with game development is time management. I started tinkering with like game development since I was very, very young, since I was 12. So, you know, or 11 or 12, I don't exactly remember what age I started, but it was somewhere around then. And, you know, this was probably like during one of my vacations that I really started getting into it. So, you know, I had all the time in the world. And as time has gone on, school, like high school, eventually took over, and now college. And I'm also having to go ahead and like juggle multiple projects, which that's very, very difficult. Because I work on multiple projects of my own, and I'm also helping out others with their projects.
Yeah.
So time management is a very difficult thing there.
No, I understand that. As someone who works with like Unity projects for VR chat, I have a lot of people asking me for help. And I've got several just test avatars set up now of bases that I don't use. But they're there to help me.
Yeah, like mine.
Yours, my roommates, Toothy's. I have them all set up just so I can go, hey, I'm having this issue. Okay, let me pull your model up and try to debug it, find out what's going on. So I get that. And then I have 12 active avatar projects right now I'm in the process of setting up and building.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah,
so
she has a lot of models.
a little bit of a problem.
Model addiction.
I mean, once you start, you can't stop. You've got to collect them all. It's like Pokemon.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
So, we have a question we normally ask people because a lot of the people we interact with are streamers or video producers. Do you post anything on like YouTube, like any tutorials or anything? Is that something you'd be interested in? You think that would help you as a developer grow? I know a lot of developers use YouTube to learn how to develop. Would giving back to the community and posting your own tutorials, your own videos on how to do things be something you'd be interested in?
I definitely would love to go ahead and do something like that at some point. I'd love to go ahead and like post video, whether it be just simple development diaries, kind of documenting what I'm working on and how I fix certain issues with projects that I make, so people can learn from my own mistakes and my own discoveries, or it be tutorials on like, you know, how to do certain things. I'd really love to do that at some point in the future, but I feel like I still need more experience when it comes to that, and I'm not really good at video editing, which, you know,
That's
kind of a big necessity when it comes to that.
Yeah. No,
That's
I
totally
understand
fair.
that one. You, I know you're a furry. And I'm assuming you have a fursona.
How could you guess?
I don't know, it's you know, the Rexium sitting on the couch across from me. I know you don't produce content, so you're not using that as like your projection to the world. But give us a little explanation of who your Sona is, what your Sona is, stuff like that.
Yeah, so I have a persona. Her name is Foxa. I do have a model for her. However, the model has a lot of issues. It's more intended for like pre-rendered shots instead of like,
Like community
real-time
VR.
stuff. I was trying. I actually do not have reported to VR chat because there's a lot of issues with the model, especially the rigging. The rigging is atrocious. I'm not a character modeler. Yeah,
That's fair.
so yeah, Foxa, pink and white fox girl. Funnily enough, she came from a Five Nights at Freddy's fan game originally. She was not originally my persona. She was from a FNAF fan game. She was a character. And eventually, she was moved over into another game called Twistopolis that ended up being scrapped. And I ended up really liking her, so I adopted her as my persona. I ended up making her my character.
Interesting.
And she has had some design changes over time, but eventually she became the pink and white fluffy fox that she is today.
But the basis of it was from a FNAF fan game.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of interesting. It's interesting how people come up with like characters to represent them, which is why we asked that question.
Yeah, makes sense.
You have anything you'd like to
Some,
add in or ask?
like it's always interesting to see where the persona of the person comes from, because I'm pretty sure Lilly has a completely different story to mine, and it's just like a bunch of details and a bunch of history from where we were when we got introduced fandom. It's always very interesting for me.
I mean,
Yeah.
With
so there is a hell of a story because originally I wasn't even a bunny, but we're not gonna get into that.
yeah, we don't
there-
have time. That's
Yeah.
for special.
Yeah, that's a special interview.
But with do you have any advice to any of our viewers who would like to go into game dev?
So my advice definitely would be start simple. I did not start simple because I was young and just trying to go ahead and get into it quick, and I had no idea what I was doing. Just start simple. Maybe start modding a game. Like I started off with modding originally, and then start slowly working your way out. Take everything piece by piece. Start with building levels. Then try and go ahead and figure out like how you're going to make the art. Like art, in my case, it was 3D art, so I started learning how to use Blender, and then eventually I figured out how to use Photoshop and Substance Designer and Painter, and just slowly go ahead and build up your tool set and learn how to go ahead and create stuff.
Substance Painter is it's a hell of a program, and it took me a while to learn it.
Pain.
It's yeah. I'm sorry, you actually have some of my work sitting right next to me. I did LEMS textures. So we're getting kind of close to the end of this. Where can we find you? Like, do you have links? Do you have socials? Where can our viewers find you? Where can our viewers interact with you? Where can they see like your games and stuff if you've published anything?
So I do have a website. I'm actually working on overhauling the entire site right now. I've gotten a decent amount of the plans laid out. I am reworking some stuff, but most of the plans are there. I do have a YouTube channel. I don't really upload too much on there, but it is there as well. The Blue Sky account. I have a few other links that are on my site as well. And I do also have a Game Jolt. And often there you can see me posting stuff in regards to the project I'm assisting with. But yeah.
And of course, like usual, I'll make sure all the links for Foxy or Foxa, all the links for me and Lemmy are down in the description, so make sure to check us out if you're interested. Hey, final question, and this is kind of just a general question before we wind up wrapping everything up and going. Do you have any just general advice for our viewers? Doesn't have to be about content, doesn't have to be about game dev, just general advice. Like if you have a message,
when it comes to
what
general
would you say?
advice, just keep moving forward. The world is terrifying, and on one end, that terror is beautiful, but on the other end, it can kind of get annoying whenever it gets in the way of your mood. Just no matter how bleak things are, keep moving forward because that's all you can do. You only live once, so take advantage of life while you have it.
That's genuinely good advice. That might be some of the best advice we've had on here so far.
That is very, very philosophical.
Philosophy.
Is that how you say it?
Yes, something like that.
I can't even
Philosophical.
say it.
Philosophical. There you go.
I'm sorry to laugh, but then
Philosophical,
in my mind, I'm realizing, wait, I don't know how to pronounce that either.
Philosophical. All right. Before we completely wrap up, is there anything you want to ask us? Anything you'd like to know about us?
I'm always terrible at these questions. The interviewee becomes the interviewer.
It can be anything.
We've had someone ask what our favorite food is, so
what is the mass of the sun?
on that note, we're ending. I used to be really
It
big
is
into
more than
astronomy,
1
and,
kilogram.
I could not give you that answer.
It is more than a kilogram. I can tell you that.
It is in fact more than a kilogram.
That is true.
Lemmy is right. Okay, everyone. That's the end of the episode. Foxa, thank you for joining us.
Yep.
We're glad to have you.
No problem.
As usual, I'm Lilly. This is Lemmy.
I'm Lemmy.
And we'll see you guys again on the next episode. If you like this, consider dropping a sub. Keep an eye on the channel. We post videos every Monday. Until then, take care, stay safe out there, and bye-bye.